Welcome back, mamas. Y'all, I'm excited for today's episode about resilience, about setbacks, and how we can use them to propel us forward. I told you I would tell you the rest of Michaela's story about the hospital. And they say kids are resilient, but this was resilience in a whole different light. And I cannot wait to share it with you because I know it's going to teach you so much. So let's get to it. Do you wish you had control of your days, that you had a rhythm, but instead feel overwhelmed, scattered, and like there's never enough time? You're in the right place. I'm Danielle, a recovering workaholic, wife, and stay-at-home mom of 2 girls. I've learned how to reclaim my time and find purpose and freedom so I can be present with my kids and feel like myself again. Here, we embrace where we are, but we don't stay there. So if you're ready to trade the chaos for clarity, the guilt for grace, and the endless to-do list for aligned flow, grab the kiddos a snack and toss in that laundry because I know you're multitasking, and let's do this because your time, your purpose, and you matter. Okay, mamas. So today we get to talk about resilience. I'm going to tell you Michaela's story. Yes, we're going to talk about her hospital trip and what ensued there and what came from it that I believe is such a lesson to us. But I'm going to start with a quote, of course. This is from Robin Sharma, and it says, "The beautiful thing about setbacks is they introduce us to our strengths." The beautiful thing about setbacks is they introduce us to our strengths. We get to dig in, right? When something is a setback, we get to choose how we decide to deal with that setback. And we get to choose to dig into our strengths and use our strengths to help us through the setback to get to what we actually want in the first place, right? To get us where we want to go. I am going to tell you about Michaela's story. So I talked on Tuesday. If you did not listen to that episode, it was about self-doubt and how using that can actually propel us forward. This is kind of the same vein, but it uses Michaela's story. And really, we're going to talk about resilience. So what happened to Michaela, if you did not listen on Tuesday, she had an accident. She tripped and fell. And when she was falling, she was trying to catch herself with her foot, and her foot went straight into one of our plastic, hard laundry baskets with the little holes. And, you're coming down and you're catching yourself. It's a pretty hard thing that you're trying to catch yourself, right? And so the impact of that in her toe, it sliced right underneath her toe, her pinky toe, went into that part on the laundry basket, that hole. And evidently it didn't hurt her that much in the moment. But then when she took a step, she was like, ouch. And then the blood, right? And then my other daughter had to deal with it because I was upstairs. They called me. I came running. My daughter had enough sense, my 12-year-old told her to put pressure on it and hold her leg while she came to get me. And so that by the time I got there, I could see pools of blood on the floor, but the bleeding had pretty much stopped by the time I had even made it down the stairs, which was amazing because we knew right at that point that it was probably going to be okay, right? But I knew once I looked at the cut that it was going to probably need stitches. And so I said the word hospital, and Michaela is afraid of the doctors. She is afraid of the doctors. She has had trauma with a dentist and has taken that and kind of put it on all doctors and dentists and people that are helping her in those kind of situations. And so she is afraid. She had a dental hygienist once that forgot to put the suction in her mouth when she was rinsing her mouth and doing some stuff in her mouth, and she sprayed all this water and was continuing to spray it, and Michaela's starting to choke, and the woman must not have realized that she didn't have the suction in there, and then Michaela was drowning in the water, and this woman blamed Michaela for it. She was like, "Oh, she's fine. It's fine." She acted like it was supposed to happen, but I was standing right there and saw what had happened, and it was definitely the lady's fault. But after this, Michaela was scared of the dentist, of course, but then it kind of morphed into she was scared of the doctor. She had been to the doctors before that many, many a time and not been scared. We had done a sleep study. We thought she was going to have to get her tonsils out. Like she had to go to the hospital overnight one time in the emergency, and she had to go overnight because she had swallowed like a piece of plastic and it was stuck in her esophagus. Like she's been to the hospital and she's been to the doctors like plenty of times. And this was something that came after that. It was this scared of all doctors, all people. So when I said the word hospital to her, even though she said her foot did not hurt, she lost her mind and was so traumatized. And it ensued, and we calmed her down. But, we got to the doctor, we got to the hospital, and, she was terrified. Her heart rate, of course, was really high and her blood pressure was pretty normal. But they were so great with her at the hospital. We took her to Children's. We were so blessed to live near Children's Hospital, and they took amazing care of her. But what also happened while we were there is when we found out she needed stitches, they put this gel on the area and numb it so that they can do the stitches. Well, they put the gel on, but just where this particular area is, because it's kind of between your toe, the gel has to sit on there for like 30 minutes, right, for it to work. And because of where this area is, it's a really hard place to numb. And so what happened was when they tried poking her after they did the gel and it didn't work. So the gel didn't work, which meant they were going to have to give her lidocaine, a shot of lidocaine, well, actually 2 shots of lidocaine. And that really hurts. And they brought in a care coordinator, like a care, I don't know what they called her. But anyway, she was someone who would deal with Michaela, would sit there with her and coach her and breathe with her and have her look her in the eyes and count while she had these shots done. But Michaela was actually also traumatized because she was so scared of the lidocaine shot, but she also was afraid that because the gel didn't work, that this wasn't going to work either, and that she was still going to be able to feel the stitches. And she did not want that to happen. So we almost didn't get the stitches because she was so afraid of that. Okay. But she braved through it. She powered through it. This woman was amazing. I cannot say enough good things about Children's Hospital, but I'm telling you, this little girl, she was so brave and she got through it, right? She got through it. The lidocaine, it hurt. She was counting, like I could see the pain in her face. It was so traumatizing, like for everyone, that my other daughter, who's 12, that had seen all of this, she just lost it and was starting to cry because it really was. It was like, it was a lot. It was a lot to deal with. But what happened is after we got the stitches and we got wrapped up and we're on the way home, okay, this is on the way home from the hospital, and we're in the car and Michaela says to me, Mom, I'm like, yeah, she's like, I don't think I'm going to be afraid of the doctors anymore. And I was like, you don't? And she was like, no. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing, Michaela. So all of that had her come to the realization that she did it, right? She made it through that hard. She made it through that, and that she was going to be able to go to the doctors now and not be afraid. I'm telling you, we had her yearly checkup, her annual checkup a few months ago, and we went to just no shots. There was nothing. It was literally just her checkup where they, look in your nose and your eyes and your ears and they listen to your heart and all of that. And the nurse told her ahead of time, like, you don't have any shots today. Nothing's happening today. But are you nervous? Because her heart rate was so high. Her blood pressure was so high. Her pulse was high. And they were like, are you nervous? And she was like, yeah, I'm really scared. And then even when the doctor came in, after the nurse had told her nothing was going to happen, and the doctor came in, she reassured her. Michaela was still super afraid. It was something where she couldn't help it. She just was afraid, right? And then doctor was like, are you nervous? And she was like, yes, I'm really nervous. I'm scared, because the doctor was listening to her chest and again heard her little heartbeat like so fast. And here on the way home from the hospital, after having this horribly traumatic experience and getting stitches and everything, she tells me that she doesn't think she's going to be afraid of the doctor any longer. Y'all, how powerful is that? I would like to think that I had something to do with, training her in this resilience way. always looking at, when you can do hard things and all of this, but that it sunk in for her. And I didn't have to do any lessons. Like she came to this conclusion on her own. We weren't even talking about anything like that when she brought it up to me. And I was so unbelievably proud of her. And this is something that I wanted to share with you because we can all learn from it. I have another quote that I want to read to you that says, this is from David Goggins, and it says, resilience isn't just about bouncing back, it's about bouncing forward. Use setbacks as stepping stones to propel you toward your goals. Use setbacks as stepping stones to propel you toward your goals. Y'all, this is so true. What we can do with our setbacks is we can use them to learn from it and propel us to our goals. Like Michaela didn't want to be scared at the doctors anymore, right? Like she didn't want that. It was just happening to her. It was happening to her body. And she saw that when she went through this hard that she had to go through, like we went to the hospital, it was a lot of trauma. She had to get the stitches, she had to get the lidocaine. Like the first thing didn't work, then the second thing did work finally, right? And she was able to power through it and get through it. And then her foot was going to be better, right? And she got through that hard and realized, okay, guess what? I think now that I've done all this, that I know I can do it. I know that I can get through this hard. And I know she knew that the doctors were then there to help her, right? There was that one lady. She had no business blaming Michaela for that. She acted, first of all, she was neglectful in what and how she treated her with not putting the suction in, but then to blame it on her and everything, that was horrible. That was like breaking her trust. It was horrible, right? It was horrible to go through as a mom. It was horrible. Like we never went back to that dentist. Of course, we left that day. I was so mad and we never went back, right? And I really always knew that that was the reason that she was scared of the dentist, but I never really put it together that that's when she got scared of the doctor until later, right? Like then she was scared of everything. She didn't want anything to be wrong with her because she was afraid that, people were going to hurt her or whatnot, right? Like I'm not exactly sure all of her fears, but I know that this helped her to propel forward, knowing that she can now face these things, that these people are there to help her. We had two different sets of doctors. And it was like we had this whole team because they all wanted to make sure this is such a sensitive place and it's also such a hard place. And you have to walk on your foot and where it is, everything presses together there. So, and Michaela dances and everything. And so they wanted to get it right. And they also wanted to do the best for her foot and not just like glue it. They really wanted to stitch it because it was so deep and they wanted it to heal properly. And so it was something where she had to make the decision though. It wasn't something that any of us could tell her to do, but the doctors were so great and they took such great care of her and it let her see, number one, that she could trust these doctors, right? And number two, that she could do it and that she could dig in and use her strengths, right? Like she used her strengths. She has many strengths, but one of her main strengths that I admire so much about her is how much she cares for other people and how much she values other people's feelings. And so much so that sometimes it's to her detriment. Like she puts others' feelings above herself and she never wants to make other people uncomfortable, right? And so when there's this care coordinator and these doctors and me and her sister in the room, she is not necessarily a people pleaser. Like she's great about telling her actual feelings and her opinion about something, but she's also not wanting to be disrespectful or, not disrespectful, but she doesn't want anyone else to feel bad. And this woman was there to calm her down. And so she was like, okay, I'm going to use this woman, right? Like I'm going to use other people. Like other people want to help you. You have to let them, right? And she used this woman locked eyes with her and she counted with her and she was absolutely amazing. If it weren't for her, we definitely wouldn't have gotten through that, at least not in the way that we did where Michaela was not traumatized further from us getting through it, right? Like if somebody had to like hold her down to do it or something like that would have been completely awful. And I would never have wanted that to happen, right? But instead, Michaela was able to use this woman's help, and this woman was able to calm her, and she was breathing, and she knew what to do, and she gave Michaela the tools, and then Michaela used the tools. And it was a beautiful thing to watch. It was traumatizing for sure. But when we drove home and she said that to me, I was like, oh my goodness, what a lesson. What a strong little girl. What a brave little girl. What a intuitive little girl. Like, she realized that all those people were there to help her and that she didn't need to be scared anymore, right? She didn't need to be scared anymore. I want to end with one quote. This one is from Serena Williams, and it says, I've grown most not from victories, but setback. If winning is God's reward, then losing is how he teaches us. If winning is God's reward, then losing is how he teaches us. And we do that all the time, right? Like, we thank God for things that go well or when we win or whatever. But what about those times that are hard? Like, what about when you are in the thick of it as a mom? And what about those times when things don't seem to be going right, right? Like, we're losing, like we feel like we're losing. Like, Michaela had to feel like she was losing. She was in the hospital and things weren't going her way and the gel didn't work. So she was going to have to get this other thing that was going to be super painful. Like, it's just sometimes one thing after another, right? And as moms, we know this to be true, that can happen to us too. And I want you to recognize that these setbacks, these things that can feel like we're losing, these things that are hard right now, these things that make us question ourselves, the self-doubt that I talked all about on Tuesday, please go listen to that episode. All of this, the mom guilt, all of it, we can use that as not a setback, but as a stepping stone towards what we want for ourselves, right? Like, Michaela used that as a stepping stone to help her to not be afraid of the doctor anymore. And she's choosing that, right? Like, that is not something she had to decide. Like, this is not what that could have taught her, right? Like, this could have been a whole nother thing, but she decided in her mind that day, when we're on the way home, like, okay, you know what this taught me? This taught me that I don't need to fear the doctor anymore. So what can all of this that's going on in your life, what can all of this that seems so hard right now for you as a mom, what can that mean for where you want to go, for what you actually do want? How can you use this to propel you forward, to use it as a stepping stone to get you where you want to go, right? I think that you can. I know that you can. I have the Prioritize Your Purpose coaching that will help you get clear on exactly what it is that you want, exactly what's important to you. You'll get clear on what you want and why. And that is the most important part, that why. And we have a way that I walk you through to get you to your strengths and figure out what those are. And then how do we use that to get you to where your purpose is, to get you to where you want to go, so that you are walking through this life and you don't have to look left or you don't have to look right, because you know what you want and what's best for you and your family. And you don't have to compare yourself to anyone else. And you can just use what you are doing, what you have done, and where you have been as stepping stones forward. And I want that so much for you. And so Prioritize Your Purpose coaching will definitely help you get clear on that. I will walk through it with you every step of the way. I know that sometimes you need someone there, like Michaela needed, someone there to be with her. I will be there with you every step of the way through the hard. We will get through it together. And you can just go to prioritizewithpurpose.com/coaching. I'm so excited for the program. I'm so excited for you to learn this lesson for yourself. Michaela's resilience was amazing to me, and I hope it was to you and inspires you to take that step forward. So until next week, y'all. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, Mama. If so, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and then hit share and send this to a mom who needs this in her day. I'll meet you right back here next week. Keep smiling, y'all.